both get into physical fitness and health?
Well, yeah. So we actually used to run a different fitness company together. We each kind of had our own entry into fitness. I had a lot of digestive health issues and just things that were going on for me that kind of got me in passionate about the health space. Tyler had a lot of injuries. He had been hit by a car. He'd had a gymnastics accident. He had a lot of physical injuries that were preventing him from feeling good. So we both kind of came into the fitness space through our own pain. And then once we were there, we had developed this other company that sold digital fitness products and diets and cookbooks and various things. And, I like to tell people that our Instagram life looked really good. We had checked a lot of boxes. The company was scaling. We had made the Inc. 500 3 years in a row. Everything was going great, but there was just a little voice inside that said, nope, not the right path. And so I really tried to turn that voice off because everyone was offering me so much validation for our success, but I really couldn't turn it off anymore. And so I came together with Tyler one day and I said, I'm so sorry, but the path we're going down is not the path I think we should be going down, and we need to change directions. So luckily, he was really open to sort of this idea of maybe doing something else. So I said, I really want to start from scratch and think about what would we deliver to somebody if we had like business success and profit a little bit in the background? Like what kind of product and experience could we deliver to a customer that would be best for their physical body, their psychological state, their emotional state, and for the greater societal cultural whole? Like, what could we deliver that would meet those standards? Now, I'm not saying we can't, have a profit or make sure that we're collecting data, or like the business things have to be there. I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but what if we started with that as the priority? So then we entered into WeShape, and we built we weren't in the technical space, but the product we wanted to build required huge technical lifts. So we had to get the right people on board right away to build our product. So we have a technology-driven product. We have real-time, customizable, scalable at-home workouts so people can interact with the product and scale the different movements. So I'll let Tyler speak on the movement piece, because one of the biggest things we went into when we were talking about the physical body is how do we offer somebody a product that is rooted in movement versus an exercise fad of burn more calories and get the number on the scale and sweat a lot. Like, how do we give them something that's rooted in movement so that it's sustainable? So if they used our product for 10, 20, 30 years, they would benefit. So do you want to speak a little bit to the movement?
And that kind of dovetails onto where she said, everything's going well, but it doesn't feel fulfilling. I think that even though I wasn't the one to bring that up and push that narrative, because I probably got more validation for the direction we were going than her, when she said it felt real to me as well. And I knew that what I wanted more than anything was to be able to create a product that could truly help people feel good in their bodies. And that just came from personal experience. I've had so many aches, pains, and injuries over the years that really prevented me from feeling good in my body. And I had to learn how to work through those. And I had to learn how to understand biomechanics and movement in a way that allowed my body to feel good, right? And that's something that a lot of trainers don't ever experience. I always say most trainers are athletes who kind of couldn't go further in the athletic career, and they're naturally gifted at movement, they're naturally strong, they're naturally flexible, and they don't have a lot of empathy and understanding for what their 40, 50, 60-year-old clients are going through who've had a sedentary life or have had aches, pains, and injuries for years. And so in a lot of ways, I'm in my early 20s, and I'm having to face things like arthritis and joint pain and multiple surgeries. And that gave me a sense of empathy that said, oh, I really want to help this crowd of people who needs to learn how to move their bodies the way it was meant to move. And some of the things we say over and over again to our community is, we're here to teach you how to move your body better so you can feel better in your body. And so when Katie said, I don't feel like this is the right path, how do we build something that's truly useful for people? I paused and said, I would love to build something like for my parents. I thought about my parents who are older, they have aches, pains, injuries, flexibility restrictions, things like that. And the first thing that really comes to mind when I think about that is scalability. How do you give somebody something that is scalable? Because one size fits all, it doesn't work, right? And so we sat down and I created this architecture for it, which basically says, on the way in, we ask you a bunch of questions about, what movements you can do, what your goals are, what your capabilities are with flexibility, et cetera. And we use the data that we collect on the way in to create customized workouts for you. And in these workouts, we're actually using the feedback from the workouts you start with to inform the movement selection for the future workouts. And then you can engage with them as a user and say too hard, too easy, or scale up, scale down, and it'll change the difficulty of the movements in real time. So even if you just finish that interval and you have 10 seconds of rest, you could say scale down, and the next time you see that movement, it's going to be a simpler variation. And all of that's built upon what I found works best for people in terms of feeling better in their body is movement progressions, is giving people slightly more sophisticated movement progressions that focus on increasing strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination, so that over time you can start with basic movements that focus mostly on mind-muscle connection, basic, mobility patterns, things like that, and then adding load, adding range of motion, adding speed, power, etc. And over time, that just makes people's bodies feel really amazing. So that's the kind of program behind it. And one thing Katie always says is it sounds kind of complex, because the product is really complex when it comes to the decision matrix, the technology piece. But for the user, it's answer questions, press play on your workout, and answer some questions during the workout, and we can continue to customize and scale it for you.